Yo, 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 welcome back to the DTB podcast. We're live at the Empire Barber Expo 2025.
Let's go. They not ready. DTB. KO. Season 2. What we about to do?
Let me put you on
Trust
game.
that God that put that dream in your heart.
You know the government's really a game.
Things I appreciate most is what you guys do for the culture. I just got a positive back today, bro.
I'm on my campaign. Do I got to call out names right now? Do I got to call?
Let's go, man. We got Chicago's finest, and I'm gonna let you know like that. He's so official, he calls himself the Mr.Official, the Beard King, man. How's it going, Mr.Official?
Hey, man. Shout out KO, my guys out here in the West Coast, man. Shout out to DTB, the podcast. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Mr. Official. You're one of the OGs for me. Like I was telling you off camera, you made the shaving gel go famous, bro, for me. You made the shaving gel go famous.
That's
You
right.
were one of the first barbers that I'll see throw shaving gel under someone's neck and just start shaving, and I was like, damn. I tried to do that, bro. I almost cut somebody. I was like, hell no. But then I realized you do it with a particular client, right? Or do you do it where we were doing that with
If
everyone?
they got hair, I'm a blade them. You know what I mean? It's so. I mean, thank you first and foremost. But I mean, the technique is the technique.
Yeah.
The density of the hair, you know, is just gonna result to the pressure of the blade. So
Right.
you know it's like an equation. You know, if the hair is a little more dense, you're gonna apply a little bit more pressure. But the product itself, you know, is generally what it does. It's just gonna soften the hair, moisturize the skin, and allow you to move that way. But it's really more in the hand, man. It's more in the hand and in the pressure.
Yeah. Mr. Fisher, when did you start cutting hair?
So I went to Barber College. I graduated Barber College 2003.
Yeah.
And bounced around a couple different shops, and actually got fired from 2 shops, and ended up opening up my own in 2004. So for a living, we just made 20 years,
20
in
years,
December.
yeah.
So we just hit the 2-decade mark.
Congratulations,
thank
bro.
you, man.
20
Appreciate
years
it.
is 20 years,
Two
bro.
decades of a barbershop.
2 decades in a
Official cut.
barbershop. Official
Oh, yeah.
cuts, man. Official cuts. Shout out to the whole team Official. You know, Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, man, we've done some amazing things over the last 20 years.
I was asking you when you started because did you start with were you still cutting when you used to have to like lather the blade?
Stropping and honing?
Yeah.
No, we weren't doing that. So shout out to Ms. B, McCoy Barber College. She always taught us how to use the conventional razor, strop and hone the razor, even though it was something that wasn't used anymore, and even the
Okay.
state don't allow it. But for her, she was real big on tradition
Yeah.
and knowing how to do it. So we learned how to do that in school. And, you know, she's over at the school with me. So Official Cuts Academy now, Ms. B is over at the school with me. She's the head of education. So it's kind of like one of those full circle moments where I went to her school, and now, 22, 23 years later, she's over at the school with me, and she's teaching the students the same technique. So even though now, you know, so much time has passed, it's important to kind of embrace the root
Yeah.
and the
Absolutely.
culture of barbering. So we still teach that till today.
Yeah, I see that you're into like antique stuff, right? So I know you say you have some chairs that don't exist anymore, and you're the only ones that have it. Or can you elaborate on that? a little
Yeah,
bit?
so I mean, and like any antiques, you know, you have rarities. It's a funny story how I kind of got into the antiques. And the antiques was more, I remember when I first opened up my shop, piggyback off that conversation,
Yeah.
2004, you know, I went and bought brand new chairs, and, you know, I spent, I don't know, you know, at the time it was a lot of money, but it was like $1,100 or $1,000 a chair. And I remember like 2 or 3 months in, like screws were falling out. You know, the pump was messing up, and like
Yeah.
people, you know, if you stepped on a foot plate, the chair was coming forward.
Yeah.
Or if you had a bigger person in the chair and you reclined it, that boy was going, you know,
Yeah.
you had to catch it or it was going to flip back. So, you know, I'm just like, yo, what's going on with these chairs? You know, and these were the best chairs available. So I'll never forget, a client of mine was like, yo, I got this old chair in my basement. And mind you, prior to that, I never knew nothing really about the antiques, the Barber antiques or none of that. Truth be told, I never picked up a pair of clippers until I went to barber school. You know, my background, I'm originally from New York City, and growing up, you know, in that time period, New York was like the mecca of fashion, style, linings, tapers. The Brook, which now is known as a blowout and a taper, originated in Brooklyn. It was called the Brook.
Oh, it's called the Brook?
It was called the Brook originally.
Wow.
So fast forward, when I moved to Chicago, there was nowhere to go to get my cut the way I liked it.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided to kind of pick up barbering. But fast forward now, we're in the shop, and my guy's like, yo, I got this chair in my basement. And he's like, my grandfather was a barber. He's like, this thing is heavy as hell. He's like, it ain't gonna do none of that. He's like, if you can get it out of there, you can have it. And he's like, just bring some guys with you. You know, and mind you, back then I was 20 years old, 21. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna come get it. I don't need 2-3 guys. Bro, I went down there, I couldn't even move that. I'm like, all right, I'll be right back. And I came back with some guys. And bro, we literally had to we struggled to get it up the little stairs out the basement and into it weighed about 450 pounds, 500 pounds.
Absolutely, man. Those are
old school
heavy.
cast iron porcelain chair. So that was what's the word? Almost a milestone for me, because I was just like, yo, what we've been playing around with these, BS chairs, and then these chairs. So I started looking for them, and then that was like the beginning of me getting into it. So the more I started to look into it, the more then I started to appreciate the craftsmanship and how they made the chairs and the poles and so on and so forth. So a lot of the chairs, this older client of mine, rest in peace, Mr. Russell, he used to just come to the barbershop, hang out with us.
Yeah.
He would come in, he was 86 years old, he would come in the shop, and that's how he would come in. Yeah, my name is Russell Roberto, I'm 86 years old, never smoked a cigarette in my life, no tattoos, no pierced skin. He would say that every time he would come in. That was his thing. We're like, all right, Mr. Russell, we know. And he would just kind of be, in love with the aesthetic of the shop because everything was old school. And he told us, he's like, yo, these chairs and these companies that made these chairs made the chairs so well that they put themselves out of business.
Damn.
Because you bought the chair one time
And that was it.
and you never had to buy it again.
Right. Makes sense.
So he's like, now you think about it, these chairs are still here. They're relics.
Yeah.
All you got to do is really upholster them. And then if you want to replate them and, just kind of, put them back together. But functionality-wise, they function,
It's the ones with the handle, right?
The one with the handle.
It's not a pump.
It's like a hand pump.
It's a little hydraulic pump. You could jack up a car with that joint. You get a flat tire, you pop that thing underneath there.
And
And
these chairs still have the ashtrays.
50s and 60s they did. Earlier than that, they didn't have, they were just straight porcelain. But yeah, the 50s, 60s, that's when they started going more like aluminum, and they started doing away from the cast iron and the porcelain, and started to do things a little more lighter, more efficient, so on and so forth.
Okay.
But I took a liking. It turned into a hobby, and over the course of 15 years, I accumulated an amazing collection. I started getting into the preservation of of barbering, because to me, barbers, man, it was like they were so proud.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like we have all these amazing relics, like the craftsmanship that went into it, and I'm like, now, a lot of the barbers don't appreciate, like they don't understand the level of quality that was into the furniture and the chairs and things like that was put into it. So, it's kind of one of my things I tell my students all the time, man. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, if that's our root, you have to tap into that. You got to appreciate that. You got to pay homage.
Yeah, you got to pay homage, yeah.
That's it.
Do you know the story behind the barber pole by any chance?
Yeah, I do. So,
Can you share it to the people?
Yeah, so the barber pole it's a real cool story, because how the barber pole was invented was, so the barber pole represents bandages, right?
Okay.
Because prior to, a long time ago, outside of cutting hair, barbers were pulling teeth. They were surgeons. They were doing bloodletting. So like you can go to a barber and get a haircut and get your wisdom tooth pulled, and if you had an infection, he would, you know, they can pretty much handle that too. You know, do a small procedure. So what would happen is, you know, they would have outside the shop, they would have the clean bandages, you know, hung out there to dry. And then when they would do the small surgeries, the bandages would be bloody. So they would put them, you know, next to them. So when the wind would blow, right, the clean and dirty, the clean and the soil bandages the wind would blow them and they would twist up. So anybody driving by, it would just look like red and white stripes. Right, so that's kind of how the barber pole was invented. It was the red and white stripe first, the blue came later. You know, so later on, some people say the blue represented the veins. Some people say that's when they incorporated, you know, the sterilization, and you know that represented like sterile, you know, sanitation and sterilization.
Yeah.
You know, that came a little bit later, but originally it was the red and white.
What I know that you own a barber school, right?
Yeah.
So what does the textbook teach of what the actual barber pole signifies? Because from remember going to barber school, I remember the textbook said it was the veins. The blue was the veins. This is the first time that I hear that it became like the sanitation part of it and all that stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
As it evolved, you know.
So they'll say there's two different sayings, because they say
yeah.
originally our blood is blue until it hits oxygen, right?
Yeah.
Then it turns red. But you know, different parts of the world write it differently. You know what I mean? Like the United States, you know, we're here, so we go based off what we're taught here.
We're taught,
but I mean, you know,
exactly.
you go barbering is the oldest. Well, they say the second oldest profession in the world.
Yeah.
You know, the first was prostitution.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so
Hey, you're not lying.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It
So
goes back
like,
to
you
the
know,
old age.
the old age.
It
So
goes back to the old
so
age.
we're the second oldest profession in the world.
Oh, damn.
The first was prostitution. So you know,
Gems right there.
so you know, different parts of the world say different things. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, you know, it all represents, you know, the blood bandages, the clean bandages, the veins, and then sanitation. So I mean, you know, we'll call it that. You know what I'm saying? That's what we teach them. But yeah, man.
To follow up on the barber school question, what has been the hardest barrier to cross while running a barber school and a barber shop?
Listen, there's no way you can do it by yourself. Again, shout out to Team Official. Shout out to my staff at Official Cuts Academy. There's no way you can do it by yourself.
How does that team of the academy, if you don't mind sharing, how does that look? Like 10 people here, 15 people here, 5 people here? How does that look?
So we have, you know, our team right now, you know, we have pretty much Miss B, she's the director of education. We have 3 other instructors, including myself. And, you know, we have a couple of student instructors. So, you know, based on the student body, it's going to depend on how many people you have in attendance, right? So you want to have enough instructors there, you know, based on your occupancy.
Yeah.
You know, so if you have 100 students, you know, 1 or 2 instructors ain't going to do it.
You're correct.
Right.
You know, if you have 20 students, you know, 2 or 3 is more than enough. You know, so it just depends on the student body and what your limit is.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, to me, my shops, you know, I have, I've been blessed to have a great team, and we build together. And you know, the way I look at it is, everybody wants to grow, and as long as you're facilitating growth and you know, listening to what everybody's goals are and putting action behind it, everybody continues to grow. And the way I look at it is, anybody that's in position on your team, there's always somebody that wants that position.
Yeah, correct.
And everybody that's in that position wants to move up.
Yeah, yeah.
So as long as there's a ladder and a system where people can continue to grow, then everybody's gonna continue to work towards a goal.
Correct.
But people, the only time they get antsy, or you know, they feel like they need to do something, is when they're still. If you think about it, like, you know, and I'm sure you guys can relate.
Like you plateau.
Yeah.
You
You plateau. Like, you're like, oh, what's
Absolutely.
next?
Yeah.
You know, what's next? You know what I'm saying? So like, when you start to ask yourself that, if where you're at can't facilitate that, or there's nobody there that you could build with, then you start to look elsewhere for like minds. And there's nothing wrong with it. I don't see it like in a malicious way or in a negative way, because a lot of people in our culture, in the barber culture, they look at it as if like, oh man, he left me, he went down the street and opened up his own shop, or he left, he took so-and-so and they went down there. Well, why? Why?
They never ask why.
Why? You know, I'm a shop owner. I had plenty of people leave.
Yeah.
I had people leave, and I tell them I wish them well. My thing is, I tell them all the time, when you came in for the job, you came in through the front door. Leave through the front door.
Damn.
Don't go out the back door. Don't try to, don't maintain the bridge.
And how do you deal with the people that leave through the back door? Because I've seen it. I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
There's some barbers that leave a shop, they don't leave in good terms. My mom always taught me, if someone gives you a job, no matter what happens, the day comes and you gotta leave, tell him thank you for the opportunity and walk out. But I see a lot of barbers in LA who just leave shops.
It's just, I think there's a lot of ego and stuff like that involved when they just decide to leave through the back, or it could also be vice versa when it gets time for you to leave and that they want you to leave through the back door. It's not even necessarily that you want to leave through the front door all the time, but sometimes it's just in that gray space.
Well, to me, I mean, from experience, anybody that ever left out the back door is because they wanted to take as many of their clients with them. Right. Or they wanted to try to get the barbers to go with them, and they didn't want to come. They didn't want to come to me directly and have that conversation because a lot of times they think I'm just going to let them go right there on the spot, and that would be me letting them go prematurely because to them, and this is like you're talking about over the course of 20 years before Booksy and online booking apps and things like that, or social media, where now barbers are connecting with their clients. Everybody's there's connection.
Yeah, correct.
Before, you would have to call the shop.
Yeah.
So to them, they would have to wait, you know what I'm saying, for their clients to come in, over the course of a month or two, and I'm going over there. I'm going over there, and they're slipping their number. I'm gonna be down there. So they're like, it's like, they were waiting to kind of accumulate as many people as they could to then go. So, for me, I've also say on the flip side to that coin, I've had people come to me and tell me, I'm going to open up my own shop. I'm just letting you know, I'm looking around. I'm just, it's nothing but respect. I don't want to, do anything without you knowing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting you know there's nothing happening yet, but I'm looking.
I'm plotting. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anything
I could do to help you. And we've had people that, I'm telling you, that have done that, and they've been at my shop all the way up. When they left my shop, there was the grand opening to their shop the next day.
Oh,
so they were there all the way up until it was done.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
In a respectable manner where I'm like, I'm good with that because you're straight with me. You kept a buck with me.
Yeah.
So while they were building out their shop, they were still working in my shop.
I feel it.
All the way up until their grand opening. So once they had their grand opening, they left, and we were all there, and we celebrated the grand opening, and it's all respect and it's all love. So to me, it's not about somebody leaving, it's how you leave.
How you leave, yep.
You know what I'm saying? The same way, you know what I'm saying? To me, it's not, this life, everything that we do, it's not, it's how you get there.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's how, at least to me, it's how you get there, how you maneuver, because ultimately everything else, is temporary, man. But, the relationships, the bridges, I've had people go out, and I promise you this, I've had 2 or 3 groups of people that left to go open up a shop, and it didn't work out for them, and they came back. Some of them are still with me, and that was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
They tried it wasn't for them, and they came back. So a lot of people don't really know what it takes to go out there and do, open up your own business.
What's the barber life in Chicago? Because I know every big city has a different, way of running the shop or getting barbers or even dealing with state board and stuff. How regulated are you guys out there? And what's the niche out there in Chicago? What identifies Chicago as far as in the barber industry?
That's a good question. So you got a couple questions. So, I mean, Chicago, as far as barber culture, I would say there's a lot of barbershops. Definitely shops on every block.
Yeah.
Right.
Every block, every other block. A lot of barbers, a lot of barbershops. And everybody's doing good. There's enough for everybody to eat. There's not a lot of like cutthroat or people like, trying to cuff different clients from different shops or none of that. There's enough people, I think it's just all about your team.
Yeah.
The harder your team goes, the more people you're going to be able to retain. But there's enough clients walking in through all the shops for everybody to eat.
Right.
as far as state board goes, you know, they're not going to come out unless somebody calls them. You know, so, you know, early on in the shop, early on in our, you know, career, we brought a different energy. We were a very diverse crew, you know, so in a time where barbershops were very segregated in my community, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you were Latino, you were going to a Latino barbershop. You know, if you were black, you went to the black barbershop. If you were Palestinian, you went to Little Palestine. You know, like, so everybody was just kind of in their own pockets in the city.
Right.
Where, to me, you know, again, coming up in New York, you know, my background, you know, the East Coast, I grew up in Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? It was a melting pot. So when I went to barber college, I was the only student in my school that wasn't black. You know what I'm saying? I went to an all-black barber college, you know, and to me, I didn't care. I don't guess. It was the cheapest. It fit my, you know, my budget at the time. You know what I'm saying? I was on the come up. I was hurting. And not only that, you know, it was, they had a great reputation. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, McCoy was in the city since 1948. So deep Chicago roots in there. But when we opened up the shop, man, we had, you know, Hispanic brothers, we had Middle Eastern cast, we had white, you know, we had all different types of people. So people were like, we were getting everybody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We were getting all type of people. And people were calling state board on us all the time. So they would come in there regularly. And they would come in there, and by the time they, you know, they came in there and they already knew who everybody was. They knew everybody had the L's. They knew the shop was on point. You know, I was so meticulous and still am till today with like our shop aesthetic and make sure we maintain professionalism, make sure everything's on point and clean. And they started getting their haircuts in there. So the inspectors would come in and just get a haircut. They wouldn't even check the stuff no more because they were like, we already know what's going on in here, but we have to show up if we're called. Correct. So it was other shops hating on us, trying to get us shut down or trying to see if we're slipping or so on. And then as far as Chicago barbers, what makes us, what's our niche? I say this humbly, man. I say this humbly in the most humble manner. Chicago barbers are the nastiest barbers in the country. And I'm going to tell you why. We're the most diverse barbers. Now, I don't care what kind of hair texture you got. I don't care what type of style you got. If you got coarse hair, fine texture hair, if you got a beard, if you're getting a shave, if you're going to, they'll handle it all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just one niche. I think they're the most well-rounded barbers in the country. You know what I'm saying? And I say that with all due respect. But yeah, so that's what I think Chicago barbers represent because, you know, it's just now, it's crazy how from 20 years ago, we're talking about how segregated it was. Right. To now, you know, me saying, I feel like they're the most diverse. Dang. So that kind of just speaks also to the city. Right? Yeah, to the city and what it's become from, you know, where it was to where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking on professionalism, you say your barbershop moves and it operates under professionalism. How do you feel, Mr.Official, about barbers smoking weed? Do you allow them to smoke weed, even if they don't smoke while they're on the job, but they're smoking before or they're smoking after? How do you feel about that?
So, I mean, listen, whatever people do on their own personal time is what they do on their own personal time. I mean, you know, with weed, you know, it's recreational in Chicago now. Okay. So you have dispensaries. I mean, all type of people, you know, so it's legal. I mean, it's not. But to me, I just look at it like, what's your business is your business. Don't let the clients, you know, have to sit there and they might not appreciate that smell of you reeking. They might not, you know, if you're somebody that, you know, if you're going to smoke before you go to work, you know, make sure you got some Visine drops. Make sure you're not reeking. Make sure you're putting on some cologne. Make sure that you're able to, you know, maintain. If it's something, because, you know, you got a lot of people that take medical marijuana. Yeah. You know, it's prescribed to them. So to me, I'm not going to tell you not to take what the doctor prescribed for you. Yeah, correct. Who am I? Yeah, true. You feel what I'm saying? So to me, my take is whatever you're doing, just make sure you're discreet about it and professional about it. And that's the same thing goes for cigarettes. Same thing goes for vapes. Like if you smoking cigarettes and you outside, your hands smell like a pack of Newports, you know what I'm saying? Right. And then you got your hands all in somebody's face. Wash your hands. Correct. Absolutely. You know, just common courtesy, man.
What about alcohol? Do you permit alcohol inside the shop?
No.
No at all?
Not at all. You know, we're not. So, you know, shops, there are some shops that have premium demographics. You know, we're in blue collar areas. Yeah. You know, we keep everything. It's a family. We got a family barbershop. Moms come in with their kids and, you know, all type of business. You know, all type of people come in there. We've been there for 20 years. So I think if you introduce alcohol, some parents may not be comfortable bringing their kids in there with alcohol. Things like that. So to me, it's if you're opening up new, and I feel like that's something that you introduce from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That's different.
Correct.
But for me to go 20 years in, we have people that have been rocking with us for 20 years.
Yeah.
Shout out to all our loyals.
Yeah.
I don't want to chase nobody away because we're moving a certain direction, man.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. I always think the barbershop, if I were to open the barbershop, I'll make it family friendly. I think that's like the one that will be more efficient, that will attract more clients,
Absolutely.
Moving to the next question, Mr. Official, you experienced an evolution of haircuts going from like people calling the shop and be like, hey, can I walk in right now? Yeah, oh, come in. Is so-and-so here? Yeah, he's right here. And then you experience people now making appointments. How did you take that? How do you think it impacted the industry?
It's a great question. I think a lot of times with the evolution of barbering, and like you said, like for me in the beginning, it was something that I had to adjust to because being a shop owner, the thing that you safeguarded the most was your clientele.
Correct.
So on the come up, barbers weren't allowed to give their information to the clients and vice versa. I mean, if you established a relationship with that person and, you eventually exchange contact information, but like say somebody walking in on the new, that was a shop client. So you took care of the shop clients. If you were a walk-in barber, and that was kind of like the culture of the barbershops, how it was back in the day, and a lot of barbershops operated that way.
Right.
So when the booking apps came along, it changed everything because that gave people access. So you either had to change with it and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to allow the barbers to communicate directly with the clients, and now it's just a matter of getting them to also promote the shop.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, with that, okay, if we're going to do that, like say, for example, if you leave, right, you're going to take all these people with you, but you're going to have to do your part when you're here, marketing and promoting. So that way, if down the line you do go your own way, you've done your part also to make sure that the person behind you or after you is also going to eat.
Yeah. Correct,
So, the way everything goes is, you can't just take, you also have to give.
Do you like the appointment-based haircuts?
It's crazy now thinking back that that wasn't present. It's like how did we operate without it?
I know.
So shout out to Booksy. And now like I'm not gonna sit here because I'm an ambassador for Booksy as well, but I'm not gonna sit here and make it a drop. But for like up and coming barbers, I tell my students all the time as well. You have these booking apps now that have taken it a step further. So like Booksy, not only will they handle all your booking, right, but they have like a feature called Booksy Boost. Right. So I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
So Booksy Boost, they literally put clients in your chair. They'll take 30% of the first transaction, and then after that, it's 100% yours.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, yo, I wish when I was coming up, there was something like that. Like they're literally putting people in your chair for 30%.
Correct.
Run that.
Yeah.
Because after that, you're locking them down.
For sure.
And that's your money for a lifetime.
Yeah.
So.
And now they also make you like a profile, a website.
Yeah, they have a community.
A shop page.
You have a community. You can market yourself. It's not only marketed to barbers. You got nail techs. You got massage therapists. You have so many beauty, hair salon, like so many different trades and artists and professions all under the umbrella. I've gotten, because I have a Booksy, I still leave it open one day a week. I don't cut hair 5 days a week or none of that no more. I cut hair on Thursdays. And I leave my Booksy open just so that way I'm still meeting new people. So I still get people that book me. And a lot of times they're either from out of state or, different people that are just like, they find me on social media and they want to connect. And I'm still able to meet new people and connect with new people. And, so they find me through Booksy too.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty cool, man. It's just another layer.
Correct.
Yeah.
So right now, Mr. Official, what are your goals for 2025? I heard you on the cast with Poppy and Bert Mena, and you were sharing a few things. What are some of your immediate goals for the next 3 months that you got going on for 2025, as far as like being a platform artist or even being a teacher or just being the best father figure you can be?
So, to me, for the next 3 months, I literally just invested we added another space in the back of the school, and it's a content creation space. We added another 1,200 square feet, and I just invested in a ton of lighting, some professional equipment, and stands and brackets and things like that. So, to me, my campaign right now for the next 3 months is I'm kind of calling it like allow me to reintroduce myself. You know what I'm saying? So like where. I think a lot of the youth, a lot of these guys, there's like a new wave of barbers, and it's cool because I like being in a room where I feel like a lot of people don't know me. A lot of people know me, and then there's a good handful of this new wave of people that don't. Yeah. So to me, it's like sharing with them, reintroducing some things that can be beneficial for them on their journey, and then also creating new content for myself outside of just brand work. Because a lot of the content that I was making was used by either Babyless Pro, Level 3, Booksy. They're taking it and using it on their platforms, on their YouTubes, on their pages, and so on. So to me, it's almost like, I want to kind of tap back into myself 2025, and just talk more about things that I'm doing, where I'm at currently in life.
Yeah, I think that's really dope to do it at your age, because some people at your age or through the span of their career, they're like, I already did everything. Like, why am I gonna go hop on Instagram again and start posting?
Yeah.
But like you say, you're reinventing yourself.
Yeah.
We should all be doing, constantly.
I'll tell you what. I mean, to me, my students keep me motivated. And to me, it's I'm still learning. So it's like, no matter how long you do it, there's always something new to learn. And I'm a student to it, and also the same thing. To be honest with you, I know you mentioned the kids and the family. So to me, as a father, it's a way to connect with my kids because we live in a very social media oriented world. So when my kids look to my social media and they see their old man is popping, and they get I take them with me to the shows and they see the respect, they look at me different. You know what I'm saying? Or we'll be outside in the mall, whatever, moving around, and some people recognize you, other barbers recognize you, and they show respect, and they look at you different because to them, So to me, it's a way that I use it as a tool also to connect with my kids. Where it's like, listen, this is a tool. Yeah. Don't let this doesn't define you. You know what I'm saying? It's important to you to understand what social media is. I've done this. I've been doing it. You've got, you get the millions of views, you get the contract, you work with companies, you're on the stages, you travel the world, but it doesn't mean, your father is this big. No, you know who I am. You know the real me.
He sees you every day. They see you every day.
You see me every day. That's who I am. And then you look at my social media and you scroll and you're like, who is this guy? Well, that's what social media is. It's a facade. It's a marketing tool.
Correct.
So, so to me, I'm like, don't get me wrong. We're organic. We're real. We're true. We always give the truth. But at the same time, understand that, it's marketing. It's business. Correct. And with business, you want to make your brand and put it on the highest level, hold it to the highest platform and the highest standard, and represent these things. So again, social media to me, the reason why is to also stay in tune with everything that's going on and use it also. It's everything is what you make it, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Everything is what you make it. If you're out there and you're just looking for clout and you want to be that dude and you want to, cool. Right. If you're doing it as a platform to create extra streamlined avenues of revenue, great. If you can use it and then, connect to connect with your kids who are into that as well, that's another layer. Yeah. So it's everything is what you make it, man.
Yeah. So do you consider yourself an entrepreneur or no? Because you're running multiple business, right?
I'm an entrepreneur, baby.
What are like some business tips that you can give us, or you could give barbers who are maybe they have the desire to go and venture out? I'm pretty sure everyone wants to venture out. We all want to create different streams of income. But what I realized that it's harder than when we think, like your first 3 years of business, they're pretty difficult, especially when you're trying to do it on paper and you want to be in right standing with the IRS and you want to have the accounting right. Like starts getting tough, you know. So what tips can you give barbers that want to become entrepreneur and run businesses?
I say, you know, expect it to be tough because it is tough. Expect it to be hard because it is hard. You know, you have to find when you go from, you know, choosing a job, 40 hours, you know, a track. I call it a track.
A track.
You know, if you want to build somebody else's dream and you want to get put on that track and be a gear to a machine, that's fine. You want to work for 40 years and retire and collect your 401k and get your benefits and, you know, you want to set income, that's fine. If that's enough for you, then by all means, much respect. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want more and you want to find your own path, that's going to require a lot of work, sleepless nights, and a lot of hard work. And to me, you know, there are times where I'm like, man, I wish I would have just worked with this company and got paid a nice contract and just, you know, just do my job, go home and not have to worry about the lights and, you know, not have to worry about all that and just get my check and be cool. Sometimes I think about that, you know, and then there are times where it's like, you know, majority of the times where I check myself and I'm like, I'm here in Cali because I want to be. I'm out here, you know, because I want to be, you know.
Time with my kids because I can.
You know, last 2 weeks ago, we were on a fishing charter in Mexico, deep sea fishing, you know what I'm saying, with my kids. And, you know, we're catching barracuda and, you know, eating ceviche off the fish that we caught, you know what I'm saying? And we were able to connect for, you know, 4 or 5 days and chill. And it's just because, you know, because I'm able to do that and I don't have to ask anybody for permission to do that. Right. You know, so it's the fruit of your labor. Now, that comes at a cost. You know, so it's like, you know, if you want that, you got to pay the dues. You got to put in the work. And it's not going to happen fast. And sometimes, you know, a lot of people, you know, I tell them all the time, I'm like, yo, you know, think about it like this, man. Like there's, you know, when you cook something, you know, you could pop something in the oven and it could slow roast or you could marinate something and then, you know, it takes its time. And then when you eat it, man, it's fire. You know, or you could pop something in the microwave, heat it up for 2 minutes, scarf it down, and hey man, your stomach ain't rumbling no more, but it wasn't as tasty as the oven. So you know, the success is the same thing, man. I mean, if that's how you define it, you know, you got that microwavable success, and then you got the one that's you know that need time to cook. You know, so you know, it's which one do you want? And nothing good comes quick. Nothing good comes quick. Correct. You know, you don't want nothing out the microwave. You know, it's not gonna be no gourmet meal. You know, let it cook, man. Put in the work. The fruit of your labor will come if you stay consistent. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times these guys, they're so locked into looking successful and not being successful that I'm like, yo, you got it all wrong. Why do you want to look like something you're not? Because the minute you're around some real people that are, they're going to sniff you out and you're not going to be able to rock with them.
I heard a quote that said, the goal is not to look rich.
It's to be rich.
To be wealthy.
Wealthy.
You will never tell if this person is wealthy. I could tell when someone's trying to be rich. But when someone's wealthy, it could be an old, humble man. He's just chilling. Sitting, he's just chilling. And he's wealthy, you know?
And I will say this, brother. Success ain't always defined by money. Right? I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's all about money and da-da-da. It's not, man. You know, it's everybody, it's being content and having peace of mind. Fulfillment, peace of mind, right? So think about it. Like, you know, to me, it's like when you peace of mind, dog, it's such an understated, underrated term. You know, because like you could have, you know, like I look at it like this, man, people that are wealthy, right? If they're sick, they don't have that peace of mind.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what is all the wealth worth at that point?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, peace of mind, man. You could be somebody like I said, the guy that's working 40 hours a week, if he's on that track, if he's content and has peace of mind, hey, that man is successful. He's successful.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're somebody, again, if you want more, if you strive to want more, there's nothing wrong with that. But as long as you ain't losing your sanity to get it.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? As long as you're able to maintain and get it, then you know what I'm saying. Then that's the most important thing is peace of mind.
Yeah, true. Mr. Official, what does retirement look like for you? Have you thought about that?
Hell yeah, I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, you're trying.
I'm trying to get there.
Like, how does that look though? Like, you're letting go of the barber shops, you're letting go, or
Nah,
how does that look?
I think it's putting the right people in place, giving the people the opportunity to take my place, but I still want a seat on the table. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be the captain of the ship. You know, I always break bread, man. You know, so to me, retirement looks like me tapping in when I want and not being there when I don't want.
Yeah.
You know, not having to be somewhere, you know, is retirement.
But what is it like in the next 10 years, next 15?
God willing, man, it's you know, everything in its time is beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And I don't have a time. I could set a timetable now, but if I do that and I don't hit that mark, then it's like, you know, you know, why put a mark on it? You know, so to me, it's like, you know, I'd like to get there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I'd like to get there as soon as possible. I'm ready. You know, I'm 42. You know, my goal, I told myself, you know, a few years back, it was 45 was my curtain call. You know, 45 would put me at my kids in high school and, you know, me being there because I want to be there, you know, full time with my kids through, you know, their junior, senior year and into college because I feel like those years are pivotal.
Correct.
You know, and you know, for your teenage kids to be running around in the streets, I want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, we all remember. I mean, you know, you remember when you was like being a teenager, man. You might still be a teenager. How old are you, my man?
I'm 27.
27. Okay, you got a young, you know, young face,
Oh
man.
yeah, but no. I do want to be there for my kid. I just had my kid too.
Hey,
He's 4
congratulations.
months. Thank you. And I'm already thinking like, man, I want to be his soccer coach. I want to be his football coach. Like when he's playing soccer, I want to be there for him or like whatever he wants to do. But that's only gonna be available if we play our cards right now. You know.
Absolutely.
Some of us are gonna try to play him too late, and your kid's already grown up, and your kid's not gonna want to spend time with you. You know, but I want to plan it out as best as I can.
Well, there was one thing, and I respect that, and congratulations again. You got any kids?
Yeah, I got 2 boys, bro.
How old are your boys?
6 and 8. Actually, his birthday was this week, so he turned 7.
Nice.
So 7 and 8, yeah.
All right, so we're all fathers, man. So, you know, one thing I'm going to give you guys from experience, and I was mentioning it earlier when we were chopping it up with Bird and Poppy Blends, is and being intentional, you know, like you said, because, you know, the time that we spend with our kids, man, you know, it's so important to be intentional to be present with the time that we have, you know, because like a lot of times for a long period of time, I was guilty of coming home being tired as hell, wanting to, you know, like we're barbers, so we're already overstimulated with conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like being at an expo. You know, you're talking to everybody. You're talking to everybody, and then when you get in the car, you get home, you just want to be in that, you just want some peace and quiet.
Yeah, correct.
So for me, coming home, you know what I'm saying, from the barbershop, think about it. If you're cutting, you know, if you're doing 30-minute slots, for example, you're cutting 2 people an hour. If you're there for 8 hours, that's 16 people.
16 conversations.
You know, it's 16 conversations. And I tell people all the time, it's a roller coaster. You know, if you got somebody celebrating, you know, I just had a baby, you're like, yo, congratulations. And then the next guy's like, yo, I'm going to bury my, you know, relative. And you're like, damn, bro, my condolences. So you're like, we're constantly on this roller coaster of highs and lows.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, for us as barbers, we got to relate to what's going on with our clients in the chair. Whether if they're happy, we're happy. If they're sad, we're sad. You know, you know, so taking all that energy, man, in and giving all the energy out, when you get home, sometimes you got nothing left to give. So I was guilty of that, you know what I'm saying? To come home and just be like, yo, I'm mentally tapped, my love. I tell my wife, yo, my love, I'm tapped. I need a minute. You know, my kids, hey, give me a minute, bro. Let me just change it. So it's like, you know, and then they, you know, like they're like, all right, you know, he's tired or he's whatever, you know, and I'm just like, you know, you take a minute. And before you know it, man, you have dinner and it's time for them to go to bed. They got school and it's over.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it's like for me, I come in and I'm like, yo, time's going by so fast. You know, I got to be intentional. So like for now, you know, if you're working, you know, whatever your schedule is, my schedule ain't over until, you know, my kids are in bed and, you know, a couple hours to just decompress with my wife. I got to be a husband. I got to be a father. And then, and only then, can I do me? Whether that looks like, you know, and I'm not a robot. My thing is I can't just go straight to sleep. It's a pet peeve of mine. I got to do something for me. whether it's, you know, be in my garage and mess with something, or whether it's just me, you know, decompressing, watching TV or whatever it is, I got to do something before I go to sleep. And then to me, that all falls in with that hard work that we were talking about earlier. That's all things that you have to prepare yourself for. You know, where like, you know, if you just worked at a regular job, check out, come home, you ain't thinking about nothing else.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, just being intentional with the time, you know, doing those things with your wife, spending that time with your wife, spending that time with your kid, you know, giving them their time. It makes all the difference. It's allowed me to build amazing relationships with my family where I'm close, where they call and they're, you know, like right now, they're, you know, let me see where you're at, my son. And so I did on my FaceTime, he's saying around, he's like, oh, it's busy, it's a good show. You know, shout out to Barber Expo. And I was like, yeah, it's a lot of people in here. So, you know, they're in tune.
Yeah, correct.
You know, so
That's
yeah.
awesome. How old are your kids, bro?
Man, my youngest, we're a blended family. So my wife, you know, her daughter and son, she has a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. Now, my twins, I have twin boys that are 13. Damn, we blended our families going on like 9 years. So the kids were like 4 years old when we blended. So they grew up together. So essentially I have three 13-year-old boys and a 15-year-old daughter. Damn. So all the boys are on their way to high school next year. You know what I'm saying? My daughter is she's going to be a sophomore. So I'm going to have 4 high schoolers. So we have 4 kids total. And, you know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, like, to just think, like, my daughter's going to be driving and they're all going to be in high school. And, you know, it's wild, man.
Yeah.
That's the next step, bro. It's the next step. How do you find that balance from when you're not home to when you do get home? You know, you catch everybody up, or is it kind of like on a Mr.Official schedule that you guys run, or you guys kind of coincide with your spouse to make sure everything running smoothly?
So,
I feel like, you know, it's very hard when we've had people here and it's like they're not fathers or anything like that. And it's a different world when you are a father, because you just want to be there for your kids. How do you put all that together for you and find the balance on that?
So that's a great question. And I think for that, it's like, you know, you have to marry the worlds together. And what I mean by that is, you know, I'm up in the morning, you know, 5:30, 6 in the morning, making lunches, getting the kids up, you know, for school. My wife makes breakfast. You know, for the most part, she's a way better cook than me. I got a 1-2 punch. That's it. I can make some pancakes, you know, and some eggs. You know what I'm saying? I can make them a couple different ways, but that's all you're gonna get from me. You know, she throws down. She will not leave these kids go to school without a hot breakfast, man. Shout out to wifey. I'm talking about crepes, waffles. Like, these kids are spoiled, dog. I'm talking about she's in there in the kitchen cooking. So, long story short, man, you know, I get up. I'm intentional about, you know, tapping in with them, seeing what they want for their lunch. I drop them off at school. You know, so my day starts off with making sure they're good. I see them to the door of their school, and then from there, I go to work. You know what I'm saying? So I make sure I'm already, you know, present in the morning. Then when they get out of school, I'm there to pick them up. So my day is from, you know, when they're in school, I'm at work. When they get out of work, I'm there to get them. You know, if I can't get them because I have other obligation for whatever reason, my wife will pick them up, and then I'll be home an hour or two after. So I catch them before practice. So I get it. You know, to me, it's important for me to take my kids to soccer practice. It's important for me to take them to their games. It's important for me to take them to baseball practice, you know, or so on and so forth. So to me, it's just being intentional with their schedule and making sure that you're involved, you know what I'm saying, with that schedule. It's not like, oh, work don't trump all that. Right. You know what I'm saying? You can't have work trump all of that, because if work trumps all that, then you're disconnected. You know, my wife, I bring her with me. You know what I'm saying? There's times now where I bring my kids with me, you know, if they want to go. My wife has I lay out my schedule, and I'm like, do any of these shows sound appealing to you? And she, you know, so like she'll pick out, most of the time it's like places that we haven't been, you know what I'm saying, that she likes to go to. Like last year we went to Australia, we went to Malaysia, you know, we went internationally is really where she likes to go. So she, you know, she comes with, and, you know, it works out because, you know, it's just we plan ahead. So yeah, it all goes back to that one word, man, being intentional, understanding, scheduling, and just being present, man.
So are you using like a calendar, a planner, or do you do everything on your phone?
I got my notes. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I have my notes. You know, I have anything and every, my wife, she's the greatest planner, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's not my strong point. To me, work-wise, I got handle it. But for me, she'll tell me, like my daughter's 16th birthday's coming up February 11th. So she's doing like this whole like thing where we're going Sweet 16, but it's a whole clues that are gonna take 3 days for her to figure out. She's going to Puerto Rico and she has to go here and go there and all this trip. So it's like she just gives me the schedule. We're gonna be here on this day, you're gonna be there, we're gonna do this, she's gonna find it, then we're gonna go here and this and that. And I'm like, all right, hold on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
And to me it's just like, whatever is important, make sure I get those dates. You know what I'm saying? She's more in tune, and she'll come to me because the kids, they're always more comfortable talking to the mom.
Yeah.
The father is always the enforcer. I'm always, the hammer. You know what I'm saying? So she'll come and she'll be like, hey, you need to go talk to so and so and just, be a little more patient. You were a little hard on him. That's there. You were a little tough on her the other day. She keeps me balanced.
Yeah. What I'm getting right now is like you're the captain and she's the compass.
That's a good one.
Like, you're the captain.
Or the other way around.
Yeah.
To me, she's an alpha, but the mothers are, again, it's so important, man, to have the balance of, toughness and tenderness. You know what I'm saying? And she balances me out. Because we grew up different.
Yeah.
Shit, I grew up different. We don't even need to get into that. I grew up old school. You feel me? It wasn't none of that. Fall in, get in line, keep it moving. We didn't have time for all that. But again, this generation is different. So just like anything else, you have to evolve in order to be able to connect.
That's right. Yeah. Be able to adapt to everything that's going on, all the evolution, everything, all the trends and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And even as a father, which y'all will know.
Yeah.
Because where we're at now and everything that you guys know, you know what I'm saying? You say you're 27. So in your 27 years, everything that you know up to today, by the time your daughter, gets to 16, it's going to be a whole new set of like rules, different than the ones that you know now.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to learn that.
Damn.
And adapt to that, and in order to reach him.
Yeah, correct.
So it's crazy. Man. You'll see. You remember this conversation?
No, I'm gonna remember for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy because right now when I was leaving the house, my son loves football, and he's like, so you're not gonna watch none of the playoff games with me, Dad, today? And it hit me, It hit me, because we're out here, and I really want to be over there with him, but Dad's got to work. That's how we put food on the table and stuff like that. So I know in the future they're gonna understand why I was absent at some places where they really wanted me to be at. But for the most part, like I've never missed none of their school plays or none of their soccer games or basketball games or anything like that. So I'm there when I can, which is for the most part, which I do make a priority. But then there's things like this that I could come out today after spending the whole week celebrating my other son's birthday and stuff like that. So they understand as well, And I really appreciate you sitting down with us and sharing your life story and the way you make it all work, And it seems like you're just like a father superhero out here, man.
No,
just without the cape.
I'm gonna chime in on that. So we're students of life, man. And again, I told you, my kids, we're a blended family. So that means there was a previous marriage, right? And my previous marriage, my ex-wife, we were married for 10 years. And her biggest issue with me was I wasn't around. I was out working, So again, this is now flashback 2004, I was 7 days a week. We were open from 9 a.m. Shout out Los Cut It. We and him put in, me and Los worked 14 years side by side in the shop. We were in there 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 12-hour days. You get home, you're done. But I didn't have no kids at the time up until like later on into my marriage with her. And, her thing was like, yo, you work too much. But for me, nobody ever gave me nothing. I had to work. I had to get the money. Nobody, like, if I didn't work, we weren't going to be able to drive. We weren't even going to be able to live in this house that you want. We weren't going to be able to maintain this lifestyle that we had.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to sit here and wear a cape and be a father superhero. This comes from trial and error. So it didn't work. My work ethic got me to where I wanted to be, is established a solid foundation work-wise, but I lacked in a lot of other areas of my life. One, according to her, was my marriage and being present. My family, my siblings, my father, you know, my you know, checking in and tapping in with my, you know, my siblings. So, you know, I kind of devoted myself to barbering, to the shop, to the brand, to just working and stacking, that, you know, it caused unbalance everywhere else. So, you know,
Understood.
moving into this relationship now with my current wife and us being, you know, going on 10 years, I'm like, okay, you know, we live and we learn.
Yeah.
You're right.
We have to adapt, we have to adjust.
Yeah, as long as you're always learning and moving forward, I feel, you know, and, you know, having some type of faith to believe that everything is gonna work out at the end, and whatever doesn't, it didn't work out for a reason.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Mr. Official, for sharing all that wisdom with us.
Appreciate y'all, man.
All the fatherhood tips, business tips. You're someone to look up to. We're gonna wrap it up already, but I just want to give you your flowers. Thank you for being an inspiration to me.
Thank you, brother.
I think you're inspiration to a lot of the barbers, brother. Keep doing what you're doing, and good luck on your family, your business, and everything you got going on.
I
brother.
appreciate y'all, man. Thanks. Shout out to the podcast y'all got going on, DTB. Out here in the West Coast, I love the West Coast, man. If you guys are ever in Chicago, you guys are more than welcome, man. And I appreciate you guys having me on here. And again, man, you know, I'll leave off with this. You know, I know we kind of veered into more, you know, family and things like that. You guys being fathers, you're a new father, you know, and you know, just with everything in life, man, it's one step at a time, one brick at a time, you know, right foot before your left foot, and just, you know, take it easy. Just take it easy, you know, and nobody has it figured out. You know, to me, you know, I sit here and I'm just talking about the things that have worked for me and the adjustments I've made, but there's still a lot of adjustments I need to make, and a lot of areas I need to work on for myself. So, you know, anybody that looks to me and is like, yo, this dude sounds like he got us together, it's not, man. You know, it's together. If it's together in one place, it's falling apart somewhere else.
That's
so,
true.
you know, and it's just trying to keep it all together, bro.
Hell yeah.
Right on,
so-
bro. Well, we appreciate you being
man.
here, man.
Yes,
the
sir.
DTB podcast. And just look right there to that camera and let them know where they can find you, Mr. Official.
Yo, check it out, man. Chicago in the building, Mr. Official on all social media platforms, IG, Facebook, YouTube. You know, any questions, anybody that's in the Chicagoland area, make sure you hit up Official Cuts. It's a landmark in Chicago. If you're into the educational aspect of the industry, make sure you check me out, Official Cuts Academy, and also check out my brother HQ, headquarters Chicago, Los Cut It. He does free educational segments every month. He has SBB there today going on right now from Miami. You know, so make sure you tap into Chicago, HQ and Official Cuts, man.
Let's go. You heard it here at the DTB podcast.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Let's go. You just got to get a picture sitting down here.